Hey there everybody, this is Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and today we are driving the 2021 Buick Envision Essence. And I want to start out by saying, I always thought that these new Buick SUVs and crossovers were just sort of rebadged, rebranded Vauxhalls and Opels from Europe, but it turns out that they're not anymore because this is predominantly Chinese. 94% of the parts on this SUV are made in China. In fact, the entire car is assembled in China, but it's okay because 1% of the part content on this vehicle is still made in the USA, so it's got that going for it. Not really the way Buicks used to be. This is Buick's entirely new image that we've been seeing for the past, 5-6 years now. Anyways, this is the Essence ST, not in any way sporty. ST just stands for sports touring. It's like a appearance package with black wheels and like dark chrome trim pieces and things like that. I don't know why they feel the need to put an ST badge on it, but there it is. But even though Buick has this new sort of image to appeal to younger people, don't think that there aren't some lasting effects of their heritage. For example, when you step into the Envision, there are still whiffs of nursing home or grandma's perfume. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the plastic, the leather that they make in here, but it does smell like old people. It's the first thing I noticed when I got in here. Also, the paddle shifters are mounted quite high because old people drive at 10 and 2 instead of 9 and 3. And at 9 and 3, the area is so thick with buttons behind it, I don't know how you could drive it like that anyways, so it's meant for you to drive it like this, like an older person would like. But anyways, with all of that out of the way, why don't we take this Buick Envision out on the road and see what it's like to drive? Are there any characteristics left from Buicks of the past, or is this a completely new animal? Once you're sitting in the Envision, the interior is about what you'd expect. There's lots of barren wastelands of textured plastic with fake stitching that they want you to think is leather. Also, strangely, fake carbon fiber trim on the door panels and around the infotainment. However, they have included some already scratched piano black down here around the extremely odd push button shifter, neutral and park being push buttons, reverse and drive being pulls. Though once you do pull that, you can see we have a 360 camera with lots of different adjustments here. We have lots of different parking aids, so grandma doesn't back in to any pulls. We also have a split opening center console. That's nice, so grandpa can keep his arm rested here while grandma goes in here to get her wooden sunglasses. Black leather interior, seats are pretty comfortable, no complaints there. We also have wireless Apple CarPlay, pretty nice. The infotainment itself isn't too bad. We'll get more into that on the road. As I mentioned earlier, the steering wheel is a little bit odd. We've got 4 buttons on the back of the steering wheel. No idea what they do. Oh, they turn the audio volume up and down, which means the left side changes your stations if you're listening to AM or FM radio. We don't have a moonroof in this particular example, and unfortunately we have a beige headliner. This particular Envision is about 43 grand, meaning it's got 6,000 in options. The Essence trim level starts around 37. I don't think, now we haven't driven it yet, but by first impressions, I don't know that I'd pay 43 grand for this. However, you have to consider that most of these are probably going to be lease cars, so nobody will be paying 43 grand for their Envision. Bose 9-speaker audio system, make sure to stay tuned for Charlie's test of that. But with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and take this Envision for a drive and see what it's like on the road. Like any other vehicle in this class, the Envision is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 that produces 228 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque. Huge shocker that they've chosen that as the powertrain. That's backed by a 9-speed automatic transmission. That's pretty smooth, sometimes behaves a little bit oddly. Overall, the Envision just feels very American, which is hilarious because it's 94% Chinese, but anyways, gloss over that. Consider the fact that it's still an American brand. It's still made by General Motors. The way everything feels, the way the buttons feel, and the steering and the ride, none of it's very satisfying. And when I say satisfying, I mean some of the things that you feel inside some of these new Korean cars that compete with this Buick Envision. Everything just feels a little bit higher quality. than the Buick. Though from the sporty looks and the way this thing's shaped, whatnot, I'm hoping that in the handling department it's a little bit better. It does appear to be pretty agile. I haven't really taken this around any hard corners yet, so we're going to find out together how it goes around the first corner here, and then of course into guardrail. Not into guardrail, hopefully, unless we lose a tire or something, but around guardrail. Try and find some sort of grip on this steering wheel. Quite a bit of understeer there at 35 miles an hour, though my racing line wasn't very good. To guardrail at 50. Yep, it's definitely a car. I will say though, it's insanely quiet, this thing. The engine, the road noise, I mean, obviously this road surface is horrible, but if you're driving on a normal road that isn't in Michigan, everything's very quiet. The car's comfortable, no complaints there. This is flat out. There are some birds in the road there. Yeah. Feels like it's got about 220 horsepower, but you probably couldn't hear the engine very well, could you? It's so quiet. The transmission, when it's not shifting oddly, shifts very smooth. No complaints there. Let's go ahead and put it in manual mode and try out these paddle shifters. They're actually decently responsive. Not instant, but don't have as big of a delay as other vehicles in this class do. What you'd sort of expect from a Ford, for instance. Yeah, not bad. Coming now into understeer. Close ratios there in the 9-speed gearbox. While we're waiting here, let's take a look at the infotainment again. It does have a very nice home button there on the left side that takes you back to the normal GM infotainment screen. Everything works very smoothly. There's no lag here at all. Back into Apple CarPlay, same story. They've fit the Apple CarPlay in the screen quite nicely. It doesn't look out of place like it does in the Escalade. So no complaints there with the infotainment at all. Though it would have been cool maybe if GM would have utilized this extra space over here for their own infotainment screen, but you know, that's just me. Go ahead and give these people a little bit of distance here. I don't want to upset the semi-driver behind me though. All right, and let's hit it. Oh. Okay, exiting there at 57 miles an hour. I think I peaked out at about 55, 56. Not too bad. There's a bit of body roll going around there. It's slightly scary. I suppose now would be a good time to note that we don't have cooled seats. I am becoming slightly damp from the black leather seat in the Envision. It would be nice here if I had a button where that dead switch is to operate a cooled seat. Unfortunately though, for your 43 grand, you don't get that. The Hyundai Tucson we had last week was $1,000 cheaper, and it did have cooled seats, and it was a hybrid. So all of those things to consider when shopping around in this class. There is a slight delay in steering, but it's nothing that anybody that buys this car is going to notice. I really don't like the steering wheel. That's like the main thing that I don't like. I can't get my hand, there's nowhere comfortable to put my hands because of where they've fitted these massive chunky buttons on the back. I really don't like driving 10 and 2. I don't really like driving like this. I like driving like this, but I have to like put my entire hands around the steering wheel in order to have them fit because it's so thick. So something I don't like very much. Also, these matte textured buttons on the steering wheel are just going to get shiny and flake off. So that's another thing. I don't know, I guess I'm already ready to sum this review up. I'm not even back yet, but hello, lot of Broncos. You're still there. So I guess we will just sum it up then. Is the Buick Envision worth $43,000? I wouldn't say so. Would I recommend somebody buying this? Probably not. Is it a bad car? No, it's absolutely not. If you're a buyer that's very familiar with GM products, it's your bread and butter, it's what you like, then sure, you know, you probably like this car. It does feel new. I wouldn't say it feels like a very outdated car. It feels about as it should, but it just kind of is what it is to me. It's a car. The exterior styling isn't bad. I don't think it's ugly. It's certainly better than the interior styling. But yeah, Buick Envision. All right, everyone, that is going to conclude our drive today of the Buick Envision. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, and comment down below, would you purchase a Buick Envision? Because I'm not sure that I would. But nevertheless, this has been Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.